Today we're going to be building a fully functional web app using Lovable and N8N. I'm going to walk you step by step through the process of creating a web app in Lovable that is basically a content repurposing app. And so that's going to let us input a chunk of text here or piece of content. We'll be able to click generate content. That's going to send that data over to N8N, where AI will spin up multiple different repurposed versions of the content and then display that directly underneath. And we'll be able to copy directly to clipboard and then post directly to the corresponding social media platform. So we'll have this set up for LinkedIn, Twitter, and a newsletter. You could do this with a variety of different social media platforms or a variety of different ways. And you'll also be able to describe your content goal, tone of voice, writing personality. And so a lot of customization here. Looking forward to it. Let's get started. So for those of you that don't know, Lovable is a web app builder that basically lets you build anything. So you can type in a natural language prompt, just like you would talk to ChatGPT or Claude or whatever, and it's going to spin up a web app in basically seconds. So this is the front page. If you go to lovable.dev, this is what you'll see, and this is actually where you'll start prompting Lovable as well. So this is where your first prompt is going to go. If you scroll down here, you can also see that I've got a couple of experiments going on down under here. And then beyond that, this is web apps that other people have made. So if you want to, if you see something that you like, or you can also filter by different app types, you can just go ahead and click this remix button right here. And that's going to let you start basically where they left off. So if you see something you like that's close to what you're looking for, just click remix and then you can edit the app from there. But for today, for the sake of this video, we're going to build the web app from scratch. So just to show you guys how simple this is, I've put together a quick prompt for ChatGPT. I found that for me at least, and maybe it's just because I don't know how to properly talk to Lovable, but I found that if I give ChatGPT a snippet of what I'm looking for and then have it expand the prompt with context for Lovable, sometimes I get much better results. So I've just written a quick little prompt for ChatGPT. It says I'm building a web app with Lovable. Beef up my prompt to give Lovable as much context as possible. So here we go. It's outputting a pretty comprehensive prompt here. One thing to note is that the other thing to note is that I've noticed that shorter prompts also seem to do well, and this is probably true for a lot of just like prompting ChatGPT and others. So I'm just going to say, go ahead and make this more concise. Please make the prompt more concise while keeping it comprehensive. All right, we'll send that off. Smooth transitions and animations, frame or motion if available. Blah, 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 blah. All right, well, let's take a chance. I'm going to grab that text there, and I'm just going to paste it right here, like I said, into the front page at lovable.dev, and then we're going to send that off. Now, I told you this would take a few seconds. In reality, it might take a minute or two. So this is especially the first prompt. It's going to take a little bit longer than others. So we're going to give this a second, and then it's giving us a response as well. So it's telling us what it's planning to do. We'll see if it actually works or not, or if it might throw a build error. We'll see. But while we're waiting for that, let's head on over to N8N. And as you can see, I've got a really, really basic workflow going here. And today we're going to build a repurposing app that lets us input a chunk of text into it. It's going to go to this AI agent through a webhook, or not really even an agent. It's just an LLM chain. And then it's going to repurpose and spin the content a couple different ways, and then send that back to Lovable. That'll be all nice and clean through our front-end web app. And then we'll add in some functionality to actually go ahead and post that content. So if you've spun up the content and you like what you see, you can just click the post button on Lovable, and we'll develop that functionality as well. And then it's going to let you automatically post to your different social media platforms. Very, very basic. I'll walk you guys through the whole thing. Let's go ahead and check Lovable here. Still spinning up. All right. While we're waiting, let's talk through pricing. So if you're just getting started, you can let me just go to the website right here. Lovable pricing. Go here. If you're just getting started, Lovable is completely free. So you can sign up for a free account and you'll get 5 daily credits. So what a credit is any sort of prompt, whether that's a prompt to make an app edit, to build the app, or to chat with the app about things going on in the code or suggestions for how to improve or things like that. That all is going to cost one credit per prompt. And every day that 5 credits is going to renew. So in theory, you would get 150 credits a month. Now, sometimes that can get a little bit annoying if you're trying to chase down particular issues, or you're trying to troubleshoot, or really, develop a lot of functionality in a short amount of time. I personally just have this $25 a month plan, the pro plan, and you can choose how many credits you need. You can always start with 100 credits per month and then work your way up from there. One thing to note is that even if you go up to the pro plan, it seems like, oh, that's a terrible deal because now I get 100 credits instead of 150 credits a month. You still get the 5 daily credits. So every day you'll get 5 daily credits to spend. And then on top of that, if you want to develop functionality or chat with Lovable on top of that, you can go ahead and use your credits for the month. So very, very useful, and it's very inexpensive just for the amount of functionality you're going to get out of this. But that's that. If you want to collab, you can go up to the Teams plan, etc. Let's go back here. All right. Looks like we've got no build errors. We do have a build error. Sorry, I scrolled down. So we've got looks like a pretty simple build error going on here. And it looks like our text is white as well on for the navigation. But we've got an app called Content Flow, and we have a text box for which we can input a content idea, click generate content. And so far so good. Let's click into the settings page. Okay, this is really good. All right, this is going to let us do quite a bit of what we want, actually. One of the other pieces of useful functionality, I would think, is to be able to tell the AI what the goal and voice, tone, personality is of the content we want it to generate. So we're giving it a pretty generic piece of text or content, and we want to tell it how to repurpose that. So tell it that you're an entrepreneur or you're a finance guy or whatever it is. We want to be able to change those settings, and I'll show you how to plug that in dynamically so that the AI returns responses based on your inputs. So we got a few things to fix, but let's see. Okay. Well, first things first, let's clean this up a little bit and get rid of this build error. So we're going to tell it to complete a full analysis. Come up with a solution. And then I'm going to go down here, and let's go ahead and get these sidebar nav items to show up. Currently, the sidebar navigation are white text, and I cannot see them. And proper button outline. Let's see what it does. Okay, we got that. We don't know if we need to edit the output yet because we haven't seen it. Looks like we also have a dark mode going on here. Maybe that's part of the reason for the for not being able to see the text. Yeah. Okay, and while we're at it, so this is really good. I found that it's pretty useful for when you're building this out, if you're using webhooks, to have it create a webhook configuration section in the settings. That way, if you're playing around with your webhooks, your URLs, you can go ahead and input it here, and so you know that it's there, and you can change it if you need to the production URL. Obviously, if you're making a production app, you wouldn't want to expose the webhook like that necessarily, but if you're making internal tools or for the purpose of this video, that's going to be really helpful. So let's go ahead and just make sure that it knows that whatever webhook URL is input here and saved, to make sure that any information that's input here should be sent to that webhook URL when we click generate content. So I'm just going to add that text down below in the prompt. Webhook configuration section and the settings, and send data to it and send the content input data to it when the generate content button is pressed. All right, let's send it off, see what it does. While we are waiting, let's head back over to N8N, and I'm going to talk through how this is going to work. If you don't know what a webhook is, this is in N8N and other environments. A webhook is a URL that listens for an event, essentially. There's probably better ways to explain it, but the way we're using it, that's how this works. We want this is a trigger webhook in this scenario. We want Lovable to post the data that is input from the user when the generate content button is pressed. We want Lovable to post that data to this URL. So this URL here and this node is going to listen for data being sent to it. You can change the path as well if you want to, keep things organized. You can add authentication for production. And then one important thing to note, and I'm not sure if this setting defaults to this, but what we're doing here is we're accepting information to this webhook node. We're then manipulating the information in this section right here. We're telling AI that we want it to take the content and generate several pieces of content from it. And then, so we're manipulating the incoming information, and then we want to respond to the webhook, the same webhook, with the new information. So for your trigger webhook node, you're going to want to make sure that you have respond set to using respond to webhook node. I've had it set to other things before, and it will not work. So make sure you got that set up. This basic LLM chain is so I'm using Open Router for to handle the AI model setup. Basically, Open Router is going to let you connect or talk to any of the popular LLM models. You can choose all kinds of OpenAI. We've got Mistral. We've got Microsoft, Meta. Anything you want. It lets you handle all the billing for the credits in one place. Super, super helpful. So you can change the model. For this one, I'm just using GPT 4.1 mini. It's going to just be cheap enough to use and reliable enough. So that's that. We connect the model here. You can use OpenAI node if you want, whatever you're feeling. And then for this LLM chain, we're giving it the prompts. We're going to pull in, we're telling it, you are a content repurposing expert. Take the following input. We're going to pull this in dynamically. So we're going to have to double check this to make sure that this is the correct item, and generate 1 LinkedIn post, 3 tweets, and 1 newsletter. And we've kind of given it a little bit more about the styling of that, what the content looks like with line breaks and, personality and such, how many characters. And then we're telling it preserve the core message, so keep the meaning of the message, and then expand with relevant value if helpful. Match the tone, goal, and personality below. And then we'll pull those in dynamically as well. We're going to just have to double check because this is a new, we'll see what Lovable sends over and what it calls them, so we'll have to double check these. And then we just tell it, follow best practices for each platform's format and style. So obviously LinkedIn is going to have a different content type or style than Twitter, and so on and so forth. So that's how that's going to work, and I'll finish off with these two in a second. Let's go back here and see how we did. All right, we've got no more build error. We still can't see the text, so that's kind of annoying. But it looks like no webhook configured using mock.edit. Configure your webhook in settings. So that's good information. It seems like it knows that nothing's there and there needs to be a webhook. Again, we can try to fix this navigation. Sometimes it's just a couple of go-arounds trying to get things fixed the way that you want them to work. But let's go ahead and test this thing out. So I'm going to go over here to N8N. Let's open up the webhook node, and I'm going to grab the test URL. Very important to note that we need the test URL. The only way that we can see what data that is being sent to the webhook, easily at least, is to use the test URL. If you use the production URL, the information is only going to show up in the executions. So it's going to be a lot just more annoying to deal with when we're trying to set up the rest of the workflow. So we're going to use the test URL. Let's go ahead and drop that URL in here. Click Save Settings. And then I'm not sure what this test webhook is going to do, but we want to go back to the dashboard here. The other important thing that you're going to have to do is go back and forth with N8N, and you're going to click Execute Workflow for that portion. Looks like we've got a problem running the workflow. That is because my social media nodes are not set up. So let me go ahead and deactivate all these. I'll talk about why in a little bit. We're going to save that. All right, now we're going to execute this workflow. This is now going to listen for us to call the test URL. We're going to go back over here. I'm going to grab a quick snippet that I've typed out. Hi, my name is Nate Schnell. I'm here to teach you about N8N automation and Lovable. Click Generate Content. And now we can see in our N8N workflow that the content has come in. It looks like it's going through our LLM chain. And it looks like it also sent the response. So perhaps the data coming in was the same as what was expected. Yeah, it looks like this had the correct name. These aren't set up, but that should be no problem. So respond to webhook. Let's see what we got. Okay. These don't look like the items that were created here, because a lot of these have my name in them, and the items that were added under here do not. So what I'm going to do, and very important when you're using Lovable, is always give it context for what to expect. In this portion here of the LLM chain, I have a structured output parser. What this does is it tells the model how we expect to receive the data and how we want it structured. So you can see that the output that came out of the LLM chain was structured in this way, same as we have defined here. So this is something that I put in. This is the way that I want the data to be output. So let me go ahead and just grab this JSON right here. And I'm going to go over here to Lovable and say when I clicked generate content, the webhook was executed, but you're not showing the response correctly. The expected response for the posts should follow the following format. Just fix that. Make sure that well, that should be enough context. Let's go ahead and use our prompts wisely here. Let's try again to see if we can get this navigation cleaned up. So the navigation sidebar still shows the menu items with white text, and I can't see them. Make the text black. Text and icons black. And so looking ahead, so this looks pretty good, especially style-wise. Looks like we can supposedly copy this to clipboard. Let's see, yeah, we actually can. So one click, copy to clipboard. That's a really neat feature. We're going to want to eventually send this off. So let's change this share button here to post. And as well, we're going to want another webhook set up so that we can, when this is posted, we can send off the content as well as the platform. So we know where to route this thing and get it posted to that particular platform. So let's have Lovable go ahead and change the share button to post. In the output, content output items, share button to post. Set up another webhook configurator. Configuration in settings, so that when, for a second, that will receive the content and platform just for an item. All right, let's send that off. Hopefully that's enough context. It tells me, feeling stuck, use chat mode to create a plan. Sometimes chat mode is helpful if you want a comprehensive troubleshooting. So if you're dealing with particular issues, you can go to chat and then kind of ask it, hey, this is what's going on. This is a little bit more about my setup. What would you suggest? And chat mode can actually output a pretty good prompt for its own self, which oddly enough. So that could be a useful feature. I don't use it a ton, but it has been helpful in the past. I'd rather, I'm more of a wanting to make the edits and see what happens kind of guy, but it may be helpful if you're just really difficult troubleshooting issue that you're trying to resolve. All right, so hopefully that will help us out. Let's go ahead and look in this data here. Looks like we have the items in the webhook for goal, tone, and personality. Let's go ahead and make sure that those are set up correctly in the prompt. I don't think this has the correct name. So for goal, we're just going to take this item right here. Let's drag that over into the prompt. We're going to get rid of this one for tone. Tone. And personality. Okay, so now this should pull dynamically. Every time that the webhook is triggered, it should send over whatever these items are set to in the settings. And then hopefully our AI model will adjust the output accordingly. But let's go over here. It looks like it's finishing up. Fix the three main issues. Fixed webhook response handling. Fix sidebar navigation visibility. No, you didn't. All right, let's open this up and still not fixed. Very odd. Usually that would be a simple fix, but maybe we need to prompt it differently. And it's interesting that when we click on dark mode that it's also not visible. Nevertheless, let's try this out. So add a second webhook configuration, post webhook URL in settings, sends content and platform name. Okay. So let's go ahead and we're just going to test our current setup right now. And so we need to go back here, make sure that you hit execute workflow. That's going to start listening for the webhook. And let me grab my prompt again, hit generate content. If we go back over here, we can see that it's doing its thing, executing the node. Okay, I did pull in these. I didn't fill in the goal this time. I should have, but that's okay. We've got personalized output here, and it shows that it correctly responded to the webhook here. Let's go back over to Lovable and double check that. So it looks like, yes, we've got it. So you can see my name here. We've got we've got a couple different options here. I'm not sure. Okay, that's why. So this really long item here, it just made the card or grid item to match the other one. That's okay for now. So we don't have our post webhook set up, so that's probably why that's not showing as an option to click. But we can also copy this and paste it into here. That's a pretty neat feature that I like. Let's see if we hit this. Okay, that clears the results. Why did I do that? Let's click execute workflow again. Let's call this again. Generate content. And while we're at it, let's go ahead and grab the other webhook URL. Looks like we can't do that until this workflow is finished. So we're going to wait patiently for this LLM chain to respond. Model output, okay, we got an error. Model outfit doesn't fit the format. Change the on error parameter. So let's see what it output. It looks correct. I'm not sure. Let's go in the settings and let's just click retry on fail. That way if it screws up, it'll maybe try again. Click save. Let's execute this again. Go ahead and send over another event. Go back here. Part of it is really making sure that this prompt is nice and shored up. Making sure that this structured output parser makes sense. It looks like it might have thrown another error. Okay, so it did throw an error, but it tried again and it sent the webhook back. Looks like it did output the correct item, so that'll work. Could be just a fluke. Let's see. But what we wanted to do was set up our second webhook. So let's go over here, click on open, grab the test URL. We're going to go over here in the settings page of our Lovable web app. Content posting webhook, let's paste it in there, click save settings. Again, as you can see, this is super helpful for diagnosing things and just getting it set up quickly without having to prompt again every time I want to add a webhook or change the webhook. Let's go back to the dashboard here. Looks like it clears the output every time we should we execute the whole workflow. All right, let's paste our prompt back in here. Click generate content. And guys, you can really add a bunch of functionality here. So if you wanted some kind of like history page here, or you could even add in some analytics. You could pull the analytics from your social media platform. Sky's the limit. Quite a few options. let's click execute workflow for this secondary portion down here. And then let's post a tweet. Let's see if that works. Okay, it did work. Very good. So in this second webhook, we've asked Lovable to send both the content in that particular item as well as the platform. The reason we need the platform is because we want to route this thing to a particular social media platform. In this scenario, it's Twitter. So for this, just for clarity's sake, I've got this pre-built, but I want to make sure you guys know how I did it. For the routing rules, make sure your value is this item here. Just drag that right in there. So whatever is the content underneath this particular item, if it's equal to Twitter, route it to output 0. It starts at 0 because computers don't start at 1, they start at 0. Don't ask me why. So we've got the same thing set up for LinkedIn and newsletter. I'm not going to do it, but if I were testing this thing out fully, I would make sure that I would test each different platform and make sure that LinkedIn wasn't capitalized or something like that. Make sure that the outputs or whatever's set here is equal to the output that we're expecting. All right, anyway, so as you can see, it automatically routed over here to the Twitter or X node. So N8N has a native Twitter node. I'm not going to set up my credentials because I'm disinterested in automating my Twitter account with this. That would scare me a little bit, but this is how you would set it up. You would create your credentials. N8N's got a ton of different resources to help you get this set up. It's super easy. And then you could have it send a direct message, list, tweet, search a user, or do a custom API call. For posting, we obviously want tweet. We want to create a tweet, not like, retweet, blah, 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 blah. And then the text, guys, just pull in this content piece right here, this item, and that's going to dynamically pull in the text from that particular content that we generated. That's all there is to it. And you would do that for each platform. I've just got a generic email node down here. If you're using Beehive or ConvertKit or whatever newsletter platforms you guys are using, you might have to make a custom API or HTTP request here instead. But other than that, that's really it. That's how webhooks that's how webhooks work, and that's how you would add in functionality to the front end. Like I said, you could totally add in, and you could fix this to be black text. Is that too much to ask for? You could totally add in a history page for prior generated items. You might have to connect in a database to do that. Lovable integrates really, really cleanly with Supabase. Highly recommend using Supabase. The free plan gives you a ton of functionality and you'd have to build a pretty massive app to have to pay the pro plan. But anyway, Supabase would be the way to go for that. And if you wanted to also add in an analytics section to see how your social media platforms or your engagement is improving over time, that would be easy to do. Yeah, super, super great stuff. You can customize all this aesthetically really easily. Change the naming, change the, work on your mobile version, everything like that. So hopefully you got some value out of that. Hopefully you can see how really easy this is to hook up to N8N, use N8N as your backend for data manipulation, data collection, taking actions and stuff like that. Really a great combo, but hopefully that helps. If you guys got any suggestions for what to build next or questions about how to do something specifically, you could drop those in the comments. I'll try to help you out if I can. That's it for this video.